What's up, nail geeks, and welcome back to another Bee's Knees Lacquer video. This time we have the part 2 of last month's Elden Ring collection, just in time for the massive drop in the DLC for the video game. Last month's collection was a little brighter. We did have quite a few earthy tones, some neutrals, lots of shimmers, and we had some real popping colors to go along with them. This time we have a 9-piece collection that is also quite earthy, and if you appreciate more super neutral type colors, I think this is also going to be up your alley, especially if you're wanting to collect the entire Elden Ring collection. So without further ado, we're going to check out the Elden Ring Part 2 collection. We're going to do our typical Will It Topper segment. And then I have a gift with purchase that is going to go along with this collection. Please note, I have heard confirmation through BKL's Instagram stories post that there is more than one gift with purchase. I do have the one that I think most swatchers, if not all, received. So you'll see my take on that, and you'll also see it Will It Toppered too. That will be at the very end of the video. Let's get started. We're going to break into this beast with Elden Beast as our first polish. This is described as a smoky plum lion cousin, bells and whistles alert there, with gold to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. This is really vampy good. I think it's going to transition really well into the fall season too. And I'm saying that as someone who literally just went for Halloween decor early shopping this last weekend. So I will not judge you if you're already looking for vampy, spooky type of vibes. Elden Beast has a somewhat jelly formula, but I don't really want to classify it as jelly because it builds very super smooth on the nail. Easy opacity reached on this. I personally chose to take it up to 3 coats because I liked that plumper looking appearance, and it dries on quite flat because, again, it's a lion cousin, so we've got a lot of shimmer going on. I would suggest a good glossy top coat. Cuz is described as a sheer grungy yellow base with strong pink to gold to green microflake shimmer. It does state in our PR information that this is what they consider a gossamer formula, meaning it's not going to reach full opacity without a blurring base or undies. I do agree with that. I would classify this as a sheer type of finish. On my full hand shot here in just a moment, you will be able to see through my clear falsies. So that's a pretty good indicator that it's classified, at least to me, a sheer. This is on the softer side, but it's so incredibly packed full of shimmer. I would suggest 3 lighter coats because it's got a strong plumping factor and you don't want to have any over buildup. Goddess of Rot is described as a wine base with strong gold to green to blue shimmer. I know someone's going to be curious, so if you're wondering how this one compares to a Queen of Rot, which was in the polished pickup, I think a couple months ago, this is what I would consider a wine. I do agree with the official description. Wine base. It's almost warm in the overall look, and the shimmer is very different. So between the two, the shimmer's completely different colors. Just wanted to throw that out there in case there's any confusion. It has a jelly-like formula. I'm again going to suggest 3 coats for opacity and a glossy top coat. It has a lighter feel on application, so no need to be careful with brush strokes or anything like that. And dry time was excellent. So I went in heavy-handed and I had no issues. Lost Grace is described as a sheer grape purple with strong gold to green to blue microflake shimmer. It does state in our PR information that this may dry with some texture, so they recommend a glitter smoothing top coat or 2 layers of their quick dry glossy top coat. I agree with that. The shimmer particles to this, it is a microflake shimmer, so we've got teeny tiny little flakes as opposed to, say, a large particled shimmer appearance. So it does have a bit of thirstiness to it. I chose to go in heavy-handed on my somewhat goopy at this point glossy top coat, and no issues there. I'm going to suggest 3 coats for this one. You may want to use a blurring base or a nude to you cream base, as this is what I would classify as sheer. Obnoxious Trumpet Sounds is described as a pale gray with gold to green shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes, bells and whistles. This is another gold lion cousin. This is my top pick in the entire collection for part 2. And it's just stunning. It's this silvery looking appearance with a strong golden glow that easily shifted over to green angles. I had no problem seeing that color roll in the shimmer. I'll suggest 3 coats on this one too. It does have a plumping factor, so just be mindful of potential over buildup. If you have a very prominent free edge, again, you might see the tiniest bit of a peekaboo effect. I don't think it was as noticeable as, say, Lost Grace, but again, on my full hand shot, you can kind of see through my falsies. FFS, or For Freak's Sake, is described as a rusty reddish brown with glowy blue shimmer. This is what I would consider another warmer type of brownish base, especially if you're wanting to compare it to, say, Goddess of Rot and Queen of Rot. It's just very warm overall. This is almost what I would consider somewhat being a bit of a pruggly type of color. If those earthy types of tones with strong shimmer is your jam, then of course this one's going to be for you. Now, FFS has a true jelly base to it, and it's going to look vastly different if you wear it between 1, 2, or 3 coats. So wanting to throw that out there, you'll want to go in even on your coats to prevent any type of discrepancy between your nails. And here is Placidu-suuux. This is a sandy tan base with pink to gold shimmer and a ton of hollow flakes. Bells and whistles going off. This is another lion cousin. Now, this was an interesting buildup for me because it's got a jelly formula and what I would describe as being a pseudo type of opacity, in that the base to my eyes is quite sheer. It's very light, but what's going to give you that almost full coverage effect is essentially the shimmer and those hollow flecks going throughout the finish. It almost has a chromy looking appearance when you go in with a glossy top coat. The shimmer is just really evenly dispersed. It's almost metallic in how it dries down. Very, I would say, dare say flattering, even though to me it heavily pulled almost like a neutral nude against myself. So it's going to play up against your skin tone. Dancing Queens is a nude base with a large particle silver magnetic shimmer. It does state in our PR information that this is not the same magnetic shimmer seen in Skyfire, and this is the failed Menorah formula reborn. Dancing Queens, I would describe as being, at least to my own personal opinion, I would describe this one as being more of a neutral brown base. It's definitely going to be a nude on specific skin tones, but to me, at least it leaned on me, almost like a toffee type of brown, if that makes sense. It absolutely played up in a nude type of manner to my skin tone. So again, this is another one that's going to really play up against your specific coloration. I'm going to suggest 3 coats. It's got a lighter type formula to it, and the magnetic particles snapped back to my magnet easily, so it's very user-friendly in that regard. You'll just want to make sure, I always say, have plenty of polish on your nails when you're magnetizing them. Crabs is Bugs is our last one in the collection. This is described as a green leaning gray base with fine particle magnetic hollow shimmer. This is really interesting, and just wait till you see it layered. It looks magnificent. I wasn't sure how this was going to, I just couldn't think of the overall final look to this when I was applying it initially, because at first I was like, is this a straight hollow finish? And yes and no. You'll see it here in just a moment when I go in with the magnet. When you wear it unmagnetized, it's an interesting type of hollow appearance. It's like this dusty type of greenish gray. It's just, I don't know, neutral, almost taupe-like. But when you use a magnet, again, at this point, I couldn't find my ring magnet. It was lost to mankind. I have found it now, but we've got the boring bar magnet here. Anyways, when you magnetize it, that magnetic pigment takes on a holographic silver-like effect. It's super interesting, and I think there's a lot of layering potential. Again, you'll see that I'm getting ahead of myself. It dries down on the semi-gloss side. I think a good glossy top coat, though, will just give it this strong gel-like effect. And then here is Poison Mist. This is one of the gift with purchase that you can get in your order. Poison Mist to me is what I would classify as being a prugly color. To my eyes, I don't have an official description for it, but to my eyes, I would describe it as being almost a chartreuse, kind of brown undertoned neutral type of green. And then we've got this strong, strong blue shimmer going throughout the polish. I think you're not really going to achieve super straight up opacity with it. So if a visible nail line bugs you, I would strongly suggest a blurring base coat or a nude to you cream undie and 3 coats and a glossy top coat. And we're going to slay this beast with the wallet topper segment. This is where I use a black swatch stick to demonstrate if polishes have layering capabilities. So we've got lion cousins, we've got lighter type of formulas, so they work. Elden Beast looks great over black. I think you can get really creative with dark undies to it. Cuz is a sheer polish, so of course it works. Please note the yellow is a touch more prominent in person, so just keep that in mind. Goddess of Rot looks amazing over black. I think this would look beautiful over other wine colors, burgundies, reds, things like that. Lost Grace is almost like a topper on its own. Again, as I previously stated, it is what I would consider a sheer finish, and it just popped so well on its own. Obnoxious Trumpet Sounds is another one that, to me, it looks like it is just its own topper. So again, lots of layering capabilities. FFS, same thing as Goddess of Rot. So much shimmer factor going here. Again, please note in person on that one, that rusty brown is a touch more prominent. Placidu is a lion cousin, just like Obnoxious Trumpet Sounds. So of course it works. Dancing Queens and Crabs is Bugs, the 2 magnetic polishes. They work ridiculously well. For Dancing Queens, please note that brown, as you can kind of see a little bit on the swatch stick wiggle, it is quite prominent. So just keep that in mind when layering. And then Crabs is Bugs. You can kind of see that greenish base in the backdrop to it, but I don't think it was as prominent as Dancing Queens. Just keep that in mind, but I do think you can do a ton with this one. And then Poison Mist, of course, it's a sheer shimmer finish, so it layers ridiculously well, and I thought it looked great over black. Just keep in mind of that chartreuse base color. The pre-order is going on right now in the shop. I will link you all below to BKL's website. I'll also strongly suggest, as I usually do on these videos, to get into the website and sign up for the newsletter. Sometimes there's flash sales. Sometimes there's restocks of colors that a lot of people have been demanding, and it's just a great way to stay informed on the brand. You can also follow along on their Instagram. I will link that in the description box below too, and I will have timestamps, all that fun stuff. The pre-order is going to go until July 28th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. Per usual, we have a soft cap on the items. If that soft cap is exceeded, it will go into pre-order status where you are still going to be able to get your pretties. So no need to get in there and super rush. But again, the link is in the description box if you want to go in after you watch this video. There's also going to be overpours from the Daughter of the Moon Goddess collection and the Hurricane Wars mystery bags too. So all of this is on the website currently. All the information is in the description box below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.